What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well and hope you're keeping safe. Today is the day that we are going to watch the 10 dumbest lottery winners in the world. If you really do enjoy me doing these reaction videos, please smash that thumbs up and subscribe button. Further ado, let's crack on with the video.
The greatest thing about the lottery is that you don't have to be a genius to win it. Take the case of DENISE Rossi, who kept $1.3 million in winnings secret from her husband to avoid having to give him half of the money during their divorce settlement. She thought she was being clever, but she ended up screwing herself out of every last penny. In a shocking verdict, a district court of appeal ruled that she would need to turn over every last dollar to her estranged husband. This happened because of a family code statute which works to penalize any spouse who falsified data about their property. Basically, because Denise lied about how much money she had, she was penalized for lying and forced to hand over the entire jackpot. But here's the real kicker. Denise allegedly filed for divorce within weeks after winning the large sum. It seemed that she must have already hated her husband, and thinking she was going to be rich. CALLIE Rogers was the youngest lottery winner in the history of Britain. At the age of only 16, she managed to win over $2 million. Imagine winning that much money at only 16 years old. You would probably go nuts and run out of money before you could even count it all, and yes, that's exactly what happened to CALLIE Rogers. She squandered the huge sum of money that could have changed her life forever by buying gifts for her family and friends and getting nonsense plastic surgery and going a little overboard in just about every aspect of her life. This makes sense considering before she won the lottery, she had been making only around $4 an hour as a checkout girl. Just weeks later, she moved in with a guy in a luxury bungalow, and he would soon become the father of her children. Fast forward down the road, it turned out that the guy who had been interested in a 16-year-old girl was a bit of a bummer. The relationship soured. Rogers had some serious issues with mental health. She had her children taken away from her, and her life turned to garbage. Plus, she ran out of money. Today, CALLIE Rogers is happier than she's ever been, making only around $15,000 a year. She has her kids, she understands the value of money, and she's even fighting to get the legal age limit for gambling in Britain raised to 18, claiming that nobody so young should suddenly win so much money. Alright, CALLIE, what's the most you've ever won on a lottery ticket or scratch?
Yeah, put the description down below. How much have you won on a lottery ticket? To be honest with you, on a scratch card, most I've won is around about £50. Lottery ticket, not really a fan of lottery tickets. Like, I don't really win as much as I think. I really wish I would win quite a lot, but I wouldn't do anything like this. I'd invest it and then save some to the side and save some to my brother and sister for the side. So for instance, when they grow old, and give that money over, I just save it. So I wouldn't spend it on stuff like this. It's ridiculous. Why would you waste all your... It's like that guy who won that I think he's on here, I don't really know. That guy who won, I think, the UK lottery and basically blown it in a month. Oh my god, I can't believe he did that. But now he's working for chopping wood for the rest of his life now. God, people these days, how they win so much money and then spend it just like this. God.
Off. Let me know in the comments below. I think I've won like $5. And then be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 8. Alex and RHODA TOTH. Next, we have another couple who went from rags to riches and then back again. Alex and RHODA TOTH won $13 million in 1990 after Alex purchased a lottery ticket. At the time, their family had been broke and struggling just to survive. Even though Alex and RHODA said in an interview after their big win that the money wasn't going to change them, it corrupted them absolutely. For whatever reason, the couple thought it would be a good idea to live in a hotel room for 3 months in Las Vegas, spending $1,000 a night on the room while gambling away massive sums of money. They bought everything in sight, then eventually got bored, purchased a home in Florida, and settled down with their kids. Of course, blowing all that money in the first place came back to haunt them pretty quickly. The IRS got involved, and it turned out the couple may have filed fraudulent tax returns, and Alex Toth faced fraud charges in 2008 before suddenly dying. By this time, absolutely nothing was left in the lottery winnings, and with Alex dead, RHODA was forced to deal with the legal ramifications of fraudulent taxes and had to live in a home with no electricity, except for what they could siphon from a car engine. Basically, they went totally broke.
Wow.
Number 7, Jack Whittaker. Jack Whittaker got rich after he hit the Powerball jackpot in 2002. He won $315 million, and afterwards, his life became a complete mess. He was 55 years old when he won what was at the time the largest United States lottery jackpot in a single ticket. He took the lump sum payment and made off with $113.4 million, and soon after really wished that he had never won at all. First, his wife left him. Then a family friend was found dead from a drug overdose in his home. And just a few months later, his own granddaughter died. Then a few years later, his daughter died. In 2016, he lost his home to a fire. And throughout this entire time, he struggled with drinking and gambling. Plus, people in his neighborhood must...
So basically, he's just had bad luck the whole way through since he's won that. Oh my word, that's just unfair. He won so much money, and now everyone's going to try and rob him and kill him for it. And I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous. He's basically lost so much stuff. God, I can't believe that. That's just unfair.
Must have known he was rich because his home and his car were repeatedly broken into and burglarized. While hanging out at a strip club, Jack had his Lincoln Navigator robbed and a suitcase with $245,000 in it stolen. Basically, it seemed like the world was out to get him. Of course, this wasn't the universe plan.
Well, of course, if you're, let's say, the richest man in the world, of course robbers and so many other people will definitely rob you. Yes, if you have high security or if you have a high safe bank that no one will ever know, then yes, you would never be robbed. You would never be robbed at all. No. Just if you were rich, I'd suggest you would never get a Lambo, never get something that is so fancy to the point where you think, oh my god, like he must be so loaded. For me, if I was rich, I'd probably keep to a basic car, which would probably be a truck, which is a dream. My dream is to get the Ford Ranger or Ford Raptor, which is fantastic. I love it. Or just basically a Tesla. That's what I'd probably just go for. I wouldn't go for very expensive. Like very expensive cars yes, they cost so much fuel, so much repairing if you break down or anything goes wrong. Like each tyre on a flipping Bugatti is like what, 1 million or something? It's fucking ridiculous. It's really stupid. With a Tesla, you can just charge it for how many hours and you can use it whenever you want. I prefer being with Tesla in a way, but trucks is usually my sort of way through.
Playing a mean trick on Jack? After all, who leaves a briefcase with $250,000 in their car while visiting a strip club?
Why?
It doesn't sound very smart. Whittaker ended up being charged twice for driving under the influence. 3 female casino employees accused him of violent assault, and he eventually became known as a lunatic who won the lottery. Then in 2020, Jack Whittaker died at the age of 72. Was that lottery ticket cursed or what?
Probably.
Number 6. Jonathan Vargas. Jonathan Vargas won the Powerball jackpot of $35.3 million at the young age of 19. Not long after winning, multiple threats were made on his life, and he ended up needing to hire a bodyguard. Apparently, Jonathan was warned by some of his trusted friends that word was spreading about his winnings. Jonathan lived in South Carolina and was a construction worker before he got rich, and supposedly some of the people in his neighborhood were plotting to get that money for themselves. Jonathan took the lump sum payment, narrowing his winnings down to only a paltry $17 million, and he was even contacted by one of the executive producers of Dr. Phil. But according to the report from the Seattle Times, Jonathan was just a little fed up with all the attention. He didn't want exposure in his neighborhood, but he got it anyway. This just goes to show that no matter how well you think you know someone, if you get a whole lot of money in the bank, they might be coming after you. Jonathan Vargas never did get attacked by anyone he knew, but it's still pretty unfortunate that he had to live his life in fear because of the greed of others. Number 5. Amanda Clayton. One of the strangest cases of dumb lottery winners ever was Amanda Clayton in 2011. First of all, the really bizarre thing was that after winning the state's lottery $1 million Make Me Rich game show, she continued to take her food stamps. Talk about a frugal winner. After all, why buy food with your millions if you can get it for free with food stamps? Unfortunately, life didn't go very well for Amanda Clayton. She ended up being charged by the Michigan Attorney General for felony welfare fraud. She got sentenced to 9 months of probation and then was forced to repay over $5,000 in food and medical assistance that she had taken even after winning the lottery. But wait, things got worse. Just 1 year after her winnings, she was found dead by police at somebody's home in a course, according to USA Today. There were no immediate details released by the police other than the fact that a suspected drug overdose was to blame. Imagine living your whole life and working hard only to win big and have the opportunity to live like royalty and then die a year later from taking illicit substances in some random house. Hey, you know what they say, mo money, mo problems.
Yeah.
Number 4, Roger Griffiths and Laura Griffiths. They say that most divorces are the product of money problems, but the truth is that too much money can also cause problems. Take the case of Roger and Laura Griffiths, who had lived with their 2 daughters in West Yorkshire. The couple struck it big with a $2 million lottery win, and both Roger and Laura quit their jobs. They moved into a luxury barn conversion. One drove a Porsche and the other drove a Lexus. They went on holidays in Dubai, Rome, Monaco, and other amazing places. But while things seemed okay on the outside, they were anything but. Laura Griffiths recently told the Daily Mail about how their lottery win destroyed their lives. After getting rich, they made some seriously bad decisions, ended up running out of money quicker than anticipated and ruining their marriage. Plus, Laura blames Roger for everything. Today, Roger apparently has $10 in the bank and lives alone in a tiny cottage and sleeps on a sofa. He, of course, claims that it was Laura who made them go broke. And the hard truth about the story is that Laura did a whole lot of shopping and Roger did a whole lot of spending, and together they did a whole lot of ruining each other's lives. Number 3, Jose Cuetak.
It's just like, if I had so much money, like if I had, let's say just a random figure around about, what, 2 million or something, or a million, something around about there, I just wouldn't expose my cash to pretty much everyone. I wouldn't say, oh, this is what I've got, this is what I've got, I can buy you this, I can buy you that, let me do this for you, let me do that. No, it's just, I just wouldn't say anything. I keep my money to myself, I keep my space to myself, I keep my friends to myself. It's just, I've noticed with people, it's like, if you have a lot of money, you'll stick by that person to think, oh, I can go to nightclubs, I can go to this, I can see famous people, I can go to expensive concerts and expensive like seats in football and like rugby, the higher section when you get like a bottle of wine, just like fancy stuff. It's ridiculous in a way how we live in a world, how that celebrities, don't get me wrong, they've worked their arse off for the money, that's understandable, but how you see celebrities like football players, like for instance, as I just don't like them at all. It's just like, for a footballer to kick a ball for 35 grand, it's just ridiculous. It's like you're kicking a ball from one person to another. Oh, I'll just get 35 grand out of that. It's just ridiculous. It's like, see people who work their arse off 24/7, like actors and everyone else. They are getting a fair amount of money, but footballers, they get so shit amounts of money for doing stupid shit. It's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, football is okay, but I prefer rugby. I just wish rugby players and most other people would get more money than footballers, because it's ridiculous how much they get. What was I saying? Yes, as well, for people who have lottery winners, I'd probably just highly suggest you save it or invest it. Invest it, you'll get a career out of it, you move forward and get a better future. Don't waste your money on things that you don't need. Do you need a purse? Do you need a PlayStation? Do you need a camera? Do you need anything? Like, what's it going to do like in your life? Nothing. Knowledge will do things in your life. Knowledge will learn better things in the future for you. Money doesn't make you happy.
The story of Jose Cuetak is a classic one. Jose was a native of Guatemala who entered the United States illegally in 2000. He also won $750,000 on a lottery ticket. This guy won a lottery ticket in a country he was illegally staying in, and that must have been really frustrating. He purchased the ticket in 2010 and then had a friend of his named Eric claim the winnings on his behalf because he was worried about being deported from the country and not getting any of the money. But as you can probably already tell, things didn't go quite the way Jose was hoping. The guy who was supposed to be his friend instead claimed that he was the rightful owner of the ticket and tried to claim all the money for himself. I mean, we can't say we...
That's what happens with friends. You've got to make sure you have a certain amount of friends that will trust you to the point, let's say if you won so much money, you've got to make sure your friends will stick by you the whole way through, even if you're broke or even if you're at your last stage of death. Because some people will think, oh yeah, he's got a lot of money, I'm just going to be his friend for no reason. I'm going to use his money for saying this, I'm going to use his ticket, I'm going to use his car, I'm going to use this. Oh, can I use your car for the day? Let's say you had a Lamborghini, or let's say really a nice Bugatti Veyron or something. They'll say, oh, can I use that for the day? It's just... You've got to make sure your friends are there for you when you're at your deathbed, in a way. And basically make sure they are there to support you if you even win a lot of money. Because you get people who will rip the fuck out of you and just make you broke, break, and also won't even care about you. Because it's just, yeah. I've been in that stage. I really have been in that stage because... I'll tell you this. Since I went through my cancer... I had friends that were there for me. I thought they would be my friends for a very, very long time. I'm not going to say their names because there's no need to. They were there for me. They saw me like once or twice. But in the previous times, when I said to them, when I was at my worst stage, nearly about to die, or felt so shit, they never came up and saw me. All the friends I had on Facebook, yes, they liked me, saying, oh, we've liked your post, or yes, we understand that you're going through this, we'll give you a message, but we just never came up to see me. And that what pisses me off, because I prefer to be happy alone and also to be free with the people who care for me and I care for them, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's just, you've got to make sure you are sticking with the right friends, because with the wrong friends, they'll be like this, and they won't even give a shit about you. That's all.
We didn't really see that one coming. I mean, at this point, Jose was probably super mad. He may have been an illegal immigrant, but did he really deserve that? Jose took the matter to court, and a jury ended up awarding ownership of the ticket to Jose, despite him being an illegal immigrant. He ended up winning after tax $517,500.
Wow.
And he was also awarded over $200,000 in attorney's fees and $25,000 in punitive damage.
Wow.
He ended up doing quite well for himself, and apparently it all came down to video footage that showed him physically buying the ticket, not the guy who tried to steal it from him. As for the would-be thief, he had actually spent a significant amount of money already on himself along with his wife. They literally robbed this poor man and then still tried to fight him in court. The judge was adamant about making an example of Eric, and so that's why there was $25,000 awarded in punitive damages. Number 2, John Ross Jr. John Ross Jr. won the California Set for Life game in March. He should have been left with $70,000 every year for the next 20 years of his life, and that's after tax. At the time of his winning, he even told CBS News that he really planned to put his life in order. However, the guy got off to a rough start. He won the lotto in March, and by December, Ross apparently had to use some of his winnings to bail himself out of jail. He was linked to a stolen Honda Civic, which he allegedly helped hide and repair for the woman who stole the car. Imagine winning enough money to set yourself up for life and then continuing with a life of petty crime.
Jeez.
It's absolutely ludicrous, and hopefully John Ross Jr. really got himself together after that.
Stupid.
Number 1, Sharon TIRABASSI. Our final story in today's video is Sharon TIRABASSI, a woman who won $10.5 million and 9 years later was flat broke. She was the winner of the Hamilton Lotto, and after rolling in dough for almost a decade, she finally ran out of funds. She ended up having to take a bus to her part-time job just so she could support her children and pay her rent. And just to interject here for a second, you would really think that one of the first things a person would do when winning all that money would be to buy a vehicle outright, so they wouldn't ever have to take a bus again, right? But apparently that just wasn't in the cards for Sharon. She really could have used a financial advisor in the beginning because within just months, she was purchasing houses, designer clothes, trips, loaning money to friends, and handing over cash to her family. According to Sharon herself, she would sometimes check her bank account to see how much money she had, but she always saw how many zeros that she had and she just didn't care. That was until one day when she realized there weren't very many zeros left. She then claimed it was time to stop having fun and just go back to a normal life. For Sharon, a normal life apparently meant waiting at the bus stop and struggling at a low-paying job. But things aren't all bad. After all, money really can't buy a person happiness.
Yeah,
and Sharon says she's happier today living paycheck to paycheck than she ever was when all she did was shop. She claims that now she feels like she has more of a purpose in her life. But then again, maybe she's just sour. She squandered all of her money. What would you...
No. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that what would you do if you won so much money? Please let me know in the comments down below. What would you do if you won so much money? For me, if I won so much money, as I said, I'd invest it, make sure I have proper friends that will be there for me, because you get people that will mug you off, lie to you in front of your face, and friends that won't even care. It's just about your money. That's all they will care about. And I'd just basically give it, what I'd probably do, I'd give it to the charity that has supported me when I've gone through my illness, which is cancer. I'll give it to the poor people who are basically suffering because they are, let's say, broke and have nowhere to sleep, eat, and just they feel so shit for themselves. So I will give some to the poor people. I'll give some money to, or give money to the people across the other side of the world that are going through hell at the minute, because I mean it's absolutely crazy what's actually happening over there, because we are in luxury and we've got this and we've got that. They are suffering from bad stuff. So that's what I'd probably would do with my money. If you really did enjoy this video, please smash that thumbs up and subscribe button. And please let me know in the comments down below, what would you do with your money if you actually won the lottery at all. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, people. I hope you have a fantastic week or weekend. Hopefully the sun will be out, because it's been raining for a couple of days now. So yeah, thank you very much, people, and take care.
Back my way.